and the church say amen again. Welcome to the Grand Street Church of Christ. If you're visiting with us, you are honored guests, and we're glad you're here with us today. Please take time out to grab a Bible. Take time out to grab a Bible and read along with us here in a moment. I want to start by saying it's good to be back. We were out visiting last week with the West Mansfield Church of Christ. They sent their regards here. I heard you guys had a great service here last week also. And so it's good to be home. Ain't no place like home. So it's good to be back here with you. I'd be amiss if I didn't mention yesterday we had a really good turnout for the door knocking. And I'll tell you, these sisters were great. They came over. I expect sisters over there cooking breakfast when we got here. And they insisted on going door knocking with them. They said, we're going to. And so sisters went with us on yesterday. And we just had a great time on yesterday. Even young Ryland was in there with us there yesterday. So just so grateful. We had a really good study on yesterday. One of Patricia's friends, Patricia Wood's friends, and we studied for a couple of hours. We're going to continue studying with her on Wednesday. So please pray for that study. We just sang the song, and I text Robert earlier this week, and Brother Marks, I know, was leading songs, and I asked if they would lead this song. This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Oh Lord, you know I have no friend like you. And if heaven's not my home, oh Lord, what will I do? The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Peter tells us some things here in 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse number 17, as our brother Stacy just read this passage earlier. But I meant to also send 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 11, and I want us to take some time out and read that. It should have been along with it. I forgot to send the other text. Actually, two texts for this sermon. But in chapter 2 of 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 11, it says, Beloved, I beg you as sojourners and pilgrims abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul. And so he basically saying that really we're pilgrims. We're going to talk about what that means in a moment. We're pilgrims. We're actually sojourners. This world really is not, my address is not 1701 Hebron Parkway. It's not my address. My address is in heaven. At least that should be my home. But sometimes we get attached to this old world. And it's hard for us to let go. I saw a movie some years ago called The Trip to Bountiful. Some of you may have seen that. Really good little movie. It's about this elderly woman who wants to go home. She's living with her son, her daughter, and daughter-in-law, and she's not getting along with the daughter. And nothing bad going on. She just wants her independence. You know, when you live in somebody else's house, they lay down their rules. You know, and then when you're older and you used to being on your own, you wouldn't go to nobody else's house telling you And so she won't be an abuser, but she just wanted to go home. And so she gets her a bus ticket. And the whole movie, she's traveling and she's having all these little adventures on the bus and all that while she's traveling there. And finally, her son catches up with her when she gets to Bountiful. And the cops are holding the mom there for him. Not because she's in trouble. They're just trying to help him find the mom. And so the mom gets in the car and she says to her son, she said, can we please just go by my house? I mean, I came all the way this way. And he said, okay, Mom, we'll go by the house. So they went by the house, and she walked on the porch, and she noticed the windows were broken out, and the grass was all tall, and, of course, stray cats running in and out of there, you know, and all of that. She sat on the porch, and they finally hit her that she could never go home anymore. And, folks, I tell that story because, see, sometimes we feel that way. Sometimes miss things in this world. You know, we miss our home. Sometimes it's people. Sometimes we miss somebody. You know, I mean, somebody say, hey, a woman been with this man, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years. And maybe 5 or 6 years go by and she's still going through something. And somebody say, well, she ought to be over it right now. Well, it ain't your husband. It ain't your husband. And so the point of the matter is sometimes we're going through things in this life and we lose loved ones and all kind of awful things happen in this world. And so I'm not about to stand here this morning and say that some of the trials that we're feeling don't hurt us. And then I know some people used to be together. And it's tough. And even after this sermon, when you go home, whatever you're going through is still going to be tough. I'm going to tell you like this. But God has a little bit of good news, though, for you. And that is this world is temporary. All the things that we go through, that's what this sermon is about. It's basically just to remind us that this world is really not it. It's not our final place. And so all those things that we feel and all those heavy pains that we feel, one day it will come to an end. And it's just a little bit of reminder for us, just to help us along through life, tough times. Now there's some things in this world we need to leave alone. Okay, I'm talking about those. And some people miss partying. I miss partying. I miss having a good time hanging out with my friend. Well, we need to get over that. And sometimes people miss things. I miss the world. I miss when I went to a Thanksgiving dinner one time some years ago. It was a relative of mine, and there was a man at the Thanksgiving dinner, and he was sitting there and watching TV, and he went on and on and on. I remember when I used to be able to watch football, and before I got married, I said, man, is there anything good about marriage? He complained the whole time. But the point I'm saying is there's some things that we miss that we really shouldn't. But we understand the losses and things like that. Now let me talk about this word pilgrim. One who stays in a place as a stranger or a visitor is a pilgrim. What we mean by this, it is intended to describe Christians whose citizenship is in heaven and who are regarded as temporary dwellers of the earth. See, we're just temporary dwellers of the earth. We're not meant, there's a lot of people in the world who don't have this hope that we have to look forward to, and thank God that we do have. Do we view ourselves as a person away from home trying to get back? Now, here's where it gets difficult. See, many of us have never been there. And so we think about, I want to go home. It's not like a place we've been that we want to go back to. That's a faith issue. That's when we really come to a point where we truly believe those things that are written in heaven about the streets of gold and the beautiful thing that's going to happen there. And we envision that, yes, this is true, that I believe God. I believe God that He's going to do these things. And so we live in that way by faith. That's what we mean when we talk about going home. But the word pilgrim is someone who stays as a stranger or a visitor in a place. And I would invite us all to start, I'm talking to myself too. I would invite us all to start thinking that we're by ourselves. When you're in this world and the difficulties and the things that we go through in this world, we need to keep it in mind that this is really not my permanent residence. And this is not where I'm meant to stay. Next, I want to look at the Old Testament examples of some faithfuls. Please take time and turn to Hebrews chapter 11, verse 8 in Hebrews chapter 11. We're going to be looking at some examples of people who got it. They understood by faith that this is not permanently hidden. We can learn from these things. So we look at Hebrews chapter 11, beginning in verse number 8. When the Bible says, by faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he would receive as an inheritance, and he went out not knowing where he was going. Now, you pack up your bags, you go someplace, you don't know where you're going. And you leaving your home, leaving your relatives, you in tents with Isaac and Jacob and heirs with him of the same promise. For he waited for the city which has foundation, whose builder and maker is God. So now I want you to go there with Abraham. I want you to think about this. Go to the best neighborhood you can find in Paris that's got the expensive houses. Or go to Beverly Hills somewhere. And then envision yourself walking around these beautiful houses and God telling you all this going to belong to you and your descendants one day. But you in a tent. Yeah, here you in a tent. Now all this stuff promised you. You in the tent. Now a lot of people be thinking, I know I'm not. Now you telling me all this is mine. I need to move in one of these mansions. You broke me. So what he was doing was he was living by faith, because even though he knew that he would never live in those places, he believed that God was going to give it to his descendants. And it kept him going. It kept him going. Drop down there also to Hebrews chapter 11 and verse number 13. He said, these also died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, were assured of them and embraced them and confessed them, that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. Now they never received the things, but they confessed that, hey, I'm just a sojourner, I'm just a pilgrim, I'm just traveling through. And for those who say such things, declare plainly that they seek, he said, a homeland. And truly, if they had called to mind that country from which they had come out, they would have had opportunity to return. They could have returned. But now they desire a better, that is a heavenly country. Therefore, God is not ashamed. What's the result of that when we live by faith? And God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. Let me tell you what Abraham did. He looked beyond the beautiful mansion to a better place. See, his eyes wasn't on all that stuff that God promised. No, he knew that stuff was coming, and he could see that all that was going to belong to him and his descendants one day. What he was doing, he was looking for a better home. He kept his eyes on heaven. And that's what we need to do. We need to keep our eyes on heaven. He said they could have returned. They could have pleaded with God, please God, I want to go home. I want to go back to what my family is. I want to go back to what's familiar to me. I want to go back to the places that I know. But they refused to do it because they were living by faith. And not only he himself, Abraham, but also his sons. In the same way, Isaac and Jacob also dwelt in tents, also knowing that one day all these things would belong to their descendants. That's why they are counted for faithful in the scriptures. Now I want to look for the remaining of the sermon. I want to look at the point that this world is not our home for various reasons. There are various reasons why this world is not our home, and the way we need to view it that way. And the first point I have is that the world is not our home because it's going to be destroyed anyway. You know, I think about a place, somebody say, man, I'm letting you have this brand new car. It's your car, but you know, next week I'm going to come and throw some gasoline and set it on fire. You know, it's hard to enjoy that car if you know where it's going. A lot of these things we know on the earth, we know these things are not meant to be permanent. Look at Hebrews chapter 1. And verse number 10 through 12, what does the Bible say there in Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 10 through 12? And you, Lord, in the beginning laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. God, in other words, God, you made all this, but they will perish, but you remain, and they will all grow old like a garment. Now, this is taken from Psalms 102, verse 25 to 27. And so he goes back, the Hebrew writer, he goes back and he quotes that. What's he reminding people of? Well, this world is temporal. This world was never meant to be a place where it was going to permanently always be here. It was never in God's mind when he designed the earth and put it together that this would forever be man's dwelling place. In 2 Peter also, chapter 3, Peter reminds us something else here about that on the same line, on the same topic about the world being destroyed. He says there in 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10, he said, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens, listen what he says, will pass away with a great noise, and the elements will melt with a what? Fervent. Now, he's not going to just melt with a heat. It's going to be a fervent heat. He said, and both the earth and the works that are in it will be burned up. Now, let me tell you something a lot of people don't realize. When we said the earth, this whole thing's going to be burned up one day. Do you not know there are three heavens? There's the heaven where our sky, where our clouds are, the birds fly. That's heaven. Then you have the moon, the stars, and that's the second heaven. And then you have the heaven where God dwells. Now listen, this is going to blow your mind. Do you not know that space, as many miles as it is, that God made space? Did you know that? So when God comes and destroys, Peter said when God destroys this earth, this sky right here, we can't envision that, but it's going to be burned up. The space, all that's going to be gone, and all that's going to be left is heaven. Everybody follow me? And for those people that are lost. And so God never built this world to be permanent. And that's why Peter asked, he not only said that the earth is going to burn with a perfect heat, he said the heavens too. God's going to burn it all up because it was never meant to stay here in the first place. There also in 2 Corinthians chapter 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. There in verse number 18, the earth is something that can be seen from these passages. It is something that is visual. And if something that is of an element intangible, that means it will burn up. But also in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 18, he said, while we do not look at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are what? Okay, look, now listen to this. Everything you see on this earth is temporary. Now, on your way home, I want you to think about this. When you're driving on your way home, every car you see, every house you see, every tree you see, every bird, everything you see, all those things are temporary. None of those things are meant to last. But the things which are not seen, see, those are the things that are eternal. See, it's why the world misses the whole point when they just want to focus on the world. Some people just about the world, what they can get in the world. That's why some Christians need to become spiritually minded and not carnally and materialistically minded. He says, I recall in 1 John 2, we know verse 15 to 7. First, we'll come back to that. Where John tells us not to love the world, not the things in the world. We who love the world, love the Father, not in him all anyway. I knew a man some years ago when I was in the music and entertainment industry. He was in a lifestyle of rich and famous one time, and I was doing somewhere at a place where we met, we became friends. And I would go to his house sometime. This is the point I knew I was changing. Because I grew weary of, I mean, come over here, I want to show you this. It was always buying pain. Everything was materialistic for him. Everything. The money, girls, everything was it. When he had money, he was a millionaire. The point of the matter, I recall so many times when I think of people. So I got to a point I shot away. I didn't want that kind of thinking in my mind anymore. And I'm going somewhere with this. Sometimes, we hanging out with the wrong people. Sometimes we hanging out with people that just carnally minded. That's all I want to do is think about worldliness. And we got to understand that when we're hanging out with people like that, they are affecting us, whether we realize it or not. But our next point is this world is not our home because heaven is our home. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? I mean, really? Okay. Well, we should be living in such a way that we believe that. This world is not our home, and here's why. Heaven is our home. It's supposed to be our home. It's supposed to be our focus. When you go to Philippians chapter 3, verse 20 and 21, go to Philippians chapter 3, verse 20 and 21, he says, for our citizenship is in heaven, from which we also eagerly wait for the Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, who will what? Transform. Everybody there? Philippians chapter 3. where I am right now, who will transform our lowly body, that it may be conformed to what? His glorious body, according to the working by which he is able even to subdue all things to himself. Well, here's what's going to happen. We're going to get to the body in a minute. But see, here's what's going to happen. One of these good old days when we get up in heaven, not only he going to give us the mansions, he's going to give us a whole new body. Now, I'm not going to touch that right now. I'm coming back to that. Let me say something before we get to that. I'm getting ahead of myself. First, go to Ephesians chapter 2. Let me make another point, and then we'll come back to that. In Ephesians chapter 2 and verse number 19. Paul says, now therefore, you are no longer strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God. Your family is the church. My family is the church. Not because of your heritage, your background, our race, our culture, our political differences, as so many brethren make such a big deal out of. We need to recognize something. With those people that are saved, are fellow heirs of heaven with them. Those are the saved. You want to know who your neighbor's going to be? Saved folks. And so when people are just hanging out with worldly people, that's some people can't stand to be around spiritual people. They don't want to be around spiritual people, especially somebody strong in the Bible. I want to be around them. But the point of the matter is, we got to start clinging to spiritual people, because these are the people we're going to share an address with. One day when I get to heaven, those non-repentant sinners, they're not going to be up there. So what am I doing hanging around them all of the time? We need to get with the winners. We need to get with the spiritual people. Folks, I'm not talking about no better than you. I'm talking about a way to protect your inheritance. Stay with the people that are spiritual. Now, back to the body. Let's look at a passage which describes our heavenly body. Folks, I'm giving you motivation this morning to talk about and think about heaven. I'm giving you motivation not to put so much emphasis on the world and what's going on here. We need to look at the fact that heaven is our home. Now, let me talk to you about a few things you got to look forward to when you get up there, if you stay faithful to God. In 2 Corinthians chapter 5, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, let me talk a minute about your body. Want to know something about your body when you get up there? Let's talk about that. In verse number 1 of 2 Corinthians chapter 5, he says, for we know that if our earthly house, this tent, is destroyed, we have a building from God. Get this, a house not what? A house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. Now, I don't want you to think about your house for a minute. I want you to think about your house. Everybody, y'all get that one in. For a minute, don't think about your house out here. I want you to think about your house. Your body, God considers to be like a tabernacle, a temple. You are the church. God can take your soul and put it in that tray. God can put the soul anyway. Your soul is your main lifeline. God can put that anyway. And so at the end of time, he put it in this fleshly body that you have. Now, let me give you these facts up front. God is the architect of your body. You are the way you are. I'm the way that I am because God made us. No matter what man says, God made your and my body. But this body is not durable. This body is not a body in such a way that nothing can hurt you or harm you. And it brings concern to us. But the body that God is talking about, that body that's coming is totally different. It is an incorruptible, it is an indestructible body. You cannot hurt or destroy this body that's coming. Now, unless there's some supernatural intervention, if somebody sets you on fire, you're on fire. I think about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. In Daniel chapter 3, God, in a supernatural way, intervened so that they did not burn. But folks, really, in the flesh. But listen to what Paul says here in verse number 2 to 4. He said, for in this we groan earnestly, desiring to be clothed with our habitation, which is from heaven. If indeed, having been clothed, we shall not be found naked. For we who are in this tent, talking about the body, man, groan, being burdened, not because we want to be unclothed, but further clothed, that mortality may be swallowed up by life. Now, that went over your head. Let me bring it down for you. What he's basically saying is this: in this body, you suffer affliction. There are some of us that suffer with various diseases and all kinds of pains and struggles, and we fear being shot and stabbed, and there's so many things and trials that can happen to this body. He said, well, the truly spiritual person looks beyond this to a better body. See, so many times we worry. I'm going to give you the background to this in a moment. Let me get the background to this. Keep reading in verse 5. Now he who has prepared us for this very thing is God, who also has given us the Spirit as guarantee. Basically, God has given you His Spirit as a guarantee that what I promise you about your body, I'm going to take care of it. Yeah. What I'm promising you that when you get to heaven, you'll feel no more pain. I promise you that. And I'm giving you this body as a what? As, somebody said depositor, right? Okay? As a guarantee. Now, God has given us this guarantee. You know, because in this world and in this life we suffer so many things. Now, let me give you the background as to what is he talking about. Because we're going to quote a scripture in a minute here. And y'all go, oh, I've been quoting that scripture all my life. And that's it. It's not the proper context. A lot of time when we're using it, we're going to deal with that today. But let's keep reading here. Where we at? 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 6. So we are always confident, knowing that while we are at home in the body, we are absent from the Lord. Well, as long as you're in this body, now this is for people who don't want to die and they don't want to leave here. And they say, oh, I love this world so much. See, spiritually minded people, they can't wait to get up out of here. Because they know something better is coming. Now, here's that scripture that we quote all the time. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Now you can quote that all your life. Now, let's look at the context of what he's talking about. Folks, he's talking about the Bible that's coming. Now, let me tell you what was going on with some of these people. These people, colleagues and fellow Christians, were being crucified, burned, killed. Can you imagine watching somebody take somebody and throw them in a line in an arena and watch them, and the people cheer and the line tear them apart? It was a difficult time for Christians. You see, they needed some motivation. And I'm not saying that's the total context. In 2 Corinthians, I'm not saying he's talking about persecution here. My point is, he's giving them some incentives to focus on the fact that you got a body that's coming, that's better. So look, don't walk by what you see. Don't walk by all this stuff in the world. Don't worry about this body, because something better is coming. See, you got to walk by faith. You can't be walking just by what you see. See, some people are so in love with their body, and some people, you think of persecution. You know, some people say, ooh, that never happened to me. You never do that to me. There's a lot of Christians who are leaving the faith. You don't believe me? Read 2 Timothy. Paul said in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 15, he said, all that age have the same sickness, among them being Hermogenes and Phygelus. He said, even demons have left me. For what? For this present. Watch this, folks. When he said demons has left me for this present world, well, that's what we're talking about. See, demons' mind wasn't on this world is not my home. I want a better body. So he left the apostle. Imagine that. He left Paul and went back to the world. See, when you look at the background of what's going on here, they needed motivation to keep going. And he's letting them know, you know, there's a better body coming. Don't worry about what they do to you here. Because things are coming that are much better. need to be well pleasing to God. Because God has made me a promise that one day things are going to be much better than where they are. Now let me give you some more motivation to think about heaven. Keep heaven on your mind. See, to get to do a lot of things in this life if you keep heaven on your mind. Look at Revelation chapter 22. What else you got to look forward to? Revelation chapter 22, beginning there. Around verse 1 through 5, he says, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding from the throne of God and of the Lamb. You know, we all need water. It's one of those things we need to live. When Jesus talking to the woman at the well, he said, the water I give you will never thirst. The woman said, give me that water. Give me some of that water. And he said here, this verse number 2, and in the middle of the street, and on the either side of the river was the tree of life, which bore 12 fruits. Every tree yielded its fruit every month. Let me stop there. In the Garden of Eden, see, Adam and Eve, they could eat from a tree. And they could still be living today. Did you know that? That tree of life, it kept them going. And in the New Testament, in Revelation, it's given to them as a motivation that there would be a tree. There would be a tree that would keep you going there. And we understand food is essential in life. But this food down here, you know, sometimes this food down here bad for us. You know, we got food that'll kill you. Sometimes people put poison in food. But not in heaven. See, you eat from the tree. He goes on to say the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. Ever get tired of being sick? Health problems all the time. But the Bible tells us in Revelation chapter 21 and verse number 4, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. There will be no more wheelchairs. There will be no more walking canes. There will be no more arthritis and cancer and HIV. There will be no more of that. No more prosthetic legs and things. All of that would have passed away when we get to heaven. And he's just painting the picture here for us of the things that we have to look forward to. And he says also in Revelation chapter 22 and verse number 4, they shall see his face, and his name shall be on their forehead. There shall be no light then. They need no lamp, nor light of the sun. For the Lord God gives them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. You see, we need motivation sometimes to keep going. Because God has promised us some beautiful things once we get to heaven. If there was such a place, and I want you to think about something. Folks, if there was such a place on earth where you could go and eat from a tree and that, no, people today, I look at something like infomercial. People always got some skincare. They're gonna take your wrinkles away. Look, I don't care how many wrinkles you take away. One of these days you're gonna hit a point where you can't do nothing about it. Well, people are looking for the fountain of youth. Everybody wants to find something that's going to keep them going all the time. Always trying to find some new medication. Always trying to find some new herb to keep them going. And if this stuff was on earth, you couldn't get enough people in the airport and on buses and trains. Everybody be going there trying to get some of this living water, some of these fruits. But yet God offers it. And men reject it every day. What are we talking about? Since the world is not our home, what should my attitude be? Now, let me tell you something. You apply this to yourself, because I'm coming from the Word of God. What I want to tell you is from God's Word, not through opinion. But the thing of the matter is, we got to understand something. Attitude matters to God. And we talked about this morning in the Bible class. That God said to Israel, one of the problems I have with you is you didn't worship me in gladness. You know, we talk about giving with a cheerful heart. Some people worship God, they don't really want to worship God. Our attitude matters. So if heaven is my home, what should my attitude be? Attitude number one, we should not be overly concerned about making ourselves comfortable in this world. Now, I know it's going to get quiet in here, but I'm going to tell you like it. One of my dad's favorite passages was in Job chapter 14, verse 1 and 2. He used to say, man is born a woman, a few days and full of trouble. Anybody know that passage? You know, we have a lot of troubles and difficulties in this life, but God's people will always suffer persecution as long as you're on this planet. See, some people don't suffer because we're not living right. Sometimes we don't suffer because we hanging out with friends at work. We doing what they do. We talk like they talk, and we dress like they dress. And so they really don't see anything different when they look at us. And so what we're talking about is God's people are going to always be persecuted and hurt. And we got to understand something. We can't get too comfortable in this life. And folks, that's what's happening to a lot of Christians. A lot of Christians are becoming complacent. They're becoming comfortable in this world. I remember in Luke 6, I talked about this last week, but I recommend that in Luke 16, verse number 25, remember what the rich man, you know what happened? When he said that rich man, Abraham told him, you had your easy life. And Lazarus was tormented. You already had it good. Now, it is. Sometimes, as Christians, we want to be comfortable in this life. I've known brothers that try to say like that. I've known brothers who live in mansions, drive Mercedes, and won't take a nickel to help an orphan. See, folks, here's the thing. Sometimes we get comfortable in this life. And it's all about us. It's all about what we want. And my brother and I was talking the other day, and I'm going to show you something here. It's in James chapter 1. And I don't know if you ever noticed this. In James chapter 1 and verse number 27. By the way, I got some sermons coming on this widow's mortal deal here. But he says there in verse 28, he said, pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this. Let me stop there, folks. Pure means your religion is clean. Impure means I got a filthy religion. Everybody with me? Okay, so when the Bible says undefiled, if my religion is defiled, it is a dirty religion. He said pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this, to visit orphans and widows in their trouble and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. So here's the deal. If I'm not doing these things in God's eyes, my religion is not clean. And something my brother said this week that was kind of heavy. I said, God, you think? He said that, you know, he heard a preacher say one time, he said that if Jesus said in 24 hours, I'll be there. What would you do with them 24 hours? Folks, everybody will be trying to do everything they can to follow you out. You'll be looking for an orphan. You'll be looking for something. You know what? Why don't we just do it now? We need to understand. Sometimes when we get comfortable in this life and we make it all about us, you know, Jesus could have picked anything to talk about. And out of all the stories, all the serial killers, but the only story he gives of the man being in hell and talking and all that was a man who just refused to help somebody that was down and out. Since we're only strangers and pilgrims here, let us abstain from fleshly lust. That's another point there we're going to. And I'm going to come to a close here shortly. In 1 Peter chapter, I got some things to go through. I'm kind of rush through here real quick because I got some things to do here. In 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse number 11, he said, let him turn away from evil and do good. Let him seek peace and pursue it. Now, that's chapter 3. What did I say there? 1 Peter chapter 2. Yeah, I'm opening the wrong page. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 11. Beloved, I beg you, so sojourners and pilgrims abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul. That's what I'm looking for, the one I read earlier. Now, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22. Paul says, flee youthful lust. Now, young people, Young people, please come back this evening. I got a message for you from the Lord, from the Word of God. And I ain't saying you came and talk to me. I ain't gonna lie to the Spirit. I'm talking about from the Word. You got to be careful today. You can't come. Young people, please come back this afternoon. Please bring your children, bring your grandchildren. It will be very profitable. Trust me, things that they're going to hear. But also, Paul talks about denying ungodliness and worldly lust. Titus chapter 2, verse 12 through 14. Also, he said, crucify the flesh with its passions and desires in Galatians chapter 5 and verse number 24. In other words, since you are a pilgrim, why fulfill every nasty desire? See, that's what I'm bringing it down. He basically saying, since you are pilgrims, why spend your time here just being involved in immoral conduct? In 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 3 and 4, he gives us some more information. He said, for we have spent enough of our past lifetime in doing the will of the Gentiles when we walked in lewdness, lust, drunkenness, revelries, drinking parties, and abominable idolatries. In regard to these, they think of it strange that you do not run with them in the same flood of dissipation, speaking evil of you. People are going to think it's strange when you're not running with them anymore. But see, folks, that's because you see yourself as a pilgrim. You see yourself as a sojourner. And you're not caught up in all these things of the world. You're not caught up in the lust of the world. We're not caught up in materialism. We're not caught up in complacency. We're not caught up in the things that draw us back away from God. Knowing that we're just passing through, we need to behave, what he's saying, in such a way that we know that we're passing through. Last point. Peter said, pass the time of our sojourn in fear. And this is the passage that Brother Stacy read earlier in 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse number 17. What does he say? He say, and if you call on the Father, who without partiality judges according to each one's work, conduct yourselves throughout the time of your stay here in what? In fear. Knowing one day that we will leave this earth, we need to walk in fear of God. And what that means, folks, I need to walk in respect of God. If I want God to fulfill his promise to one day take me to a heavenly home where there's mansions, give me that beauty, that body that will never be destroyed, and give me all that stuff he promised to the saved, then I need to behave in such a way that God will receive me. I need to fear God. Listen to God's words in Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 2. He said, for all those things my hands have made, and all those things exist, says the Lord. But on this one will I look, on him who is poor and of a contrite spirit, and who what? Trembles at my word. Are y'all there? We're coming to a close. We will not be as refugees who are often hated and scorned, but we will be beloved by the Father in heaven. We will not be strangers in a foreign land, but we will be surrounded by an innumerable company of angels in heaven. We shall not be as pilgrims in a strange country, but we shall be with that great multitude standing before the throne of God. Are you saved this morning? Because I'm going to tell you something, friend. If you're not saved, then you're not going to be able to partake of all those wonderful things we talk about. Don't you want to go to heaven? Don't you want to go to a place where there's many mansions? Where God gives you a body that will never get sick and never be destroyed? Don't you want to go to a place where you drink from living water and eat from a tree and that you never die? And that your life is sustained forevermore? Well, you've got to be saved if you want to do that. The Bible teaches that faith come by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. You want to know how to be saved? Believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. John 8:24. Repent of your past sins. Luke 13:3. You must also confess Christ with your mouth to be the Son of God. Matthew 10:32 and 33. And if the Bible stopped there, so would I. But the Bible goes on to say that you must be baptized if you want to be saved. Will you be baptized this morning? But whatever your need may be, please make it known as we stand and sing the song of invitation.